Max Porterfield. I'm president and CEO of Callinex Mines. We've got a long-standing history of exploration and development of these high-grade VMS-centric mines in northern Manitoba. And in fact, northern Manitoba and Flin Flon has had a tremendous amount of support historically from Sweden. My mentor, Mike Maslowski, he's a member of our team, actually was backed by Gränges when they developed Gränges Exploration. And about 6 months later, Mike discovered the Trout Lake mine in Manitoba, backed by Swedes out of Stockholm. He's very fond of Sweden. And that was a big discovery, one of the largest discoveries in the Flin Flon camp's history that operated for 3 decades. And we're continuing that today with our discoveries out at our Pine Bay property that we're going to discuss today. So here's the forward-looking statement disclosure for everything I'm about to tell you. Before we get into the thick of things, it's really important to touch on our cap table. We got a very, very tight capital structure, just 18.8 million shares outstanding. I'm the single largest shareholder of the company, just over 1 million shares of that 18.8. And then my family collectively owns about another 1.5 million shares. So again, fully vested on the long-term vision to make these high-grade deposits, discoveries in Manitoba, and certainly in line with all shareholders of the company. We have no debt on the balance sheet. Just recently topped up the treasury with a $2 million raise, which is fully funding our 5,000-meter exploration campaign that we've just commenced several weeks ago. We also have very strong institutional and family office support from both North America as well as Europe. Just to address the share price decline, we did have 2 very large institutions that had other objectives or necessary and reasons for needing to divest their position, which has created a tremendous opportunity. And you can see my position's has grown significantly during this time. So again, your risk reward, I think, is certainly in favor for great things to come. In terms of our team, before I get into the discoveries themselves, our technical team has been credited with the discovery of half the mines in Flin Flon's history. This is a mining community that dates back over a century. The community is based on mining, so there's not in my backyard scenario. Their backyards are mines, and they're all miners that live there. Mike Maslowski, as I mentioned, is there a pointer? No? I don't think so. Mike Maslowski, which you can see on the top right there, is again a member of the Canadian Mining Hall of Fame. As I mentioned, his biggest discovery of the 12 mines in Flin Flon was Trout Lake that carried that community for over 3 decades when the original Flin Flon mine was operating for 60 years, was due to shut down. In addition to Mike, we also have a gentleman by the name of Jim Pickell, which is a Bill Dennis Award winner, which is like the Grammy Award for the biggest discovery in North America in any given year, for the 777 mine that was operated for nearly 2 decades and recently shut down, which is what's created a tremendous opportunity for ourselves to revitalize this community. And then Alan Valls also won the same award for the Lawler mine, which is a giant VMS mine in a different area of the Flin Flon Greenstone Belt. And about 1.5 years ago, we brought on Peter Jones, who's the founding CEO of Hud Bay, which has been the operator in this community and operates all that infrastructure in Flin Flon there that you'll see here in a moment. So again, he's an engineer that's built some of the biggest mines in Flin Flon, and we're looking to replay the same story again here at Callinex. So the name of our maiden discovery that we made in August 2020 is called Rainbow. Rainbow, we've, since discovery hole, put over 40,000 meters of drilling and published a maiden resource on that last July. That resource culminated in nearly 5 million tons of very high-grade copper. In terms of the indicated category, it's nearly 3.5 million tons of 3.6% copper equivalent. And to show you how high-grade that is, 3.14% of that 3.6% copper equivalent is actually copper. So again, if you look around the world, the average mine grade of copper is less than 0.5%, and we're in the top 10% of all discoveries around the world, and really rival the grades that you see in the DRC and the Congo, which is again has a much different risk profile from an operating risk in that jurisdiction. Rainbow remains open at depth, and again, we just published that maiden resource that encompasses this Rainbow deposit, and then a nearby deposit that's about 700 meters away called Pine Bay. That's 1 million tons of 3% copper. So again, collectively, we're just shy of 6 million tons of high-grade copper, open at depth with other discoveries that we're making and following up on immediately. So here's an overview of the area blue claims are Hud Bay claims. Hud Bay is the operator. You can see there's an idle mill in Flin Flon where you can see the label for the 777 mine and processing facility. That idle concentrator has a capacity today of 5,500 tons per day and actually can be increased to nearly 7,000 tons per day if necessary. That's sitting on idle. It's on care and maintenance by Hud Bay. They've indicated that they'd like to see that restarted. It's in their best interest as well, given the fact that they've got over a $400 million reclamation liability in Manitoba that goes out a century from today. Our claims are in red claims with the addition of the yellow block claims that you see to the north, which is a recent acquisition we just completed. The property is accessible by direct road access. We also, you can see in the black outlines, a mineral lease, so it's fully permitted for mining activities. You only need an environmental license to go into production there. So we also benefit from a high voltage hydroelectric power line that's within 150 meters of Rainbow. So again, everything's in place with the workforce, road access, power, water on site, and advanced permitting. And we're quite excited about the potential with the land package we just increased to the north. That was an area that we had our eyes set on our kind of our wish list and took 8 years to get, but patience in all facets of this business is critical. And so we're really quite eager to get to work on this newly acquired ground to the north. This area that we've encompassed is critical. I don't have the geology slide just for the sake of the length of the presentation, but it encompasses the largest felsic rock package in the entire Flin Flon Greenstone Belt. And felsic rocks, quite simply, are the host rock to 90% of all the mines ever hosted in the Flin Flon Greenstone history. This large felsic package has not seen much advanced exploration in it throughout its history. The last true operator that really operated a fragmented portion of the land package where that black outline is was Placidome, who opined for a 30 million ton exploration target when they operated that specific area of the property between 1990 to 1993. And then that was followed up by another well-respected company called Inmet that explored for 2 years, having over a 20 million ton exploration target. And we certainly believe that the property is going to be really where the future of the next century of mine production will come from. It's analogous to really the Chisel Lake Basin in the Flin Flon Greenstone Belt where that Lawler mine sits, where you have a very large felsic package and all the kind of key indicators. And the missing giant there was the Lawler mine that Alan was critical in finding, and Pine Bay certainly hosts that same potential. So this is a plan view, and unfortunately I don't have a pointer, but you can see there's a stacking and number of discoveries that we've made on the property. Rainbow sits right along that shoreline and comes within 90 meters of surface, and we've just made a new discovery that's going to be outlined by the red star, and that's called Descendant. We're very excited about the Descendant discovery. That's in an area that was directly targeted by Placidome, again, for that 30 million tons. And we had a sniff there in 2016 that we weren't able to replicate that success. And since we've discovered Rainbow, we've gone back and we're able to hit multiple holes there now at Descendant, which is the name of the discovery that we're immediately following up on right now. And we're drilling a follow-up hole on Descendant actually as we speak, which we're quite excited to be at work on, vectoring towards the high grade. And this is an area of the property that's always had the potential to host something big. To give you an example, in VMS deposits, there's something called an alteration system. Your alteration system is essentially mapping the size of the volcanic event. The bigger your volcano, the bigger the eruption, the bigger the deposit. And the alteration system around Descendant is 10 times larger than the alteration system that you see at Rainbow, where we've already outlined nearly 5 million tons open at depth. So again, we're quite eager about what's to come at Descendant moving forward. In addition to that, we've outlined 3 other target areas. Those are target area Poseidon, which sits along strike to the north of Rainbow. There's target area Raw that sits along strike to the south of the Pine Bay deposit. And then there's target area Odin that sits between the Alchemist discovery and Rainbow that we'll be following up on this current exploration campaign. So the current campaign that we're working on right now as we speak is to follow up on our big discovery that's always had the potential to host a giant, and we certainly believe it, or we wouldn't be drilling there ourselves to begin with and following up now almost 8 years after our first hit on that area of the property. And then also making another discovery that has the potential to come as close to surface as Rainbow, which could immediately double your initial throughput at Rainbow. So now I'm showing a long section of the Rainbow deposit. Rainbow comes within 100 meters of surface and has been drilled down to the 900 meter level and remains open at depth. Rainbow is the most shallow discovery that's been discovered in Flin Flon within 30 kilometers of the town in over 3 decades. The old mindset was that the shallow discoveries in the camp have been found, and it was kind of scorched earth. And that is actually 100% not the case. Rainbow is evidence that that's not the case. The real reality is that the Flin Flon Greenstone Belt has only had exploration done really in one rudimentary way with electromagnetics. And EM will find mines, and it's a key part of the vectoring process, but if you only look for one thing one way, you're going to overlook a lot of opportunities, and Rainbow is a testament to that, as well as the other discoveries that we're making on the property as we move forward. Next step at Rainbow and the adjacent Pine Bay property is what's known as, we're going through the permitting process to get an advanced exploration permit. The advanced exploration permit allows you to ramp down and take a bulk sample to that deposit that can then be processed at one of the local concentrators, which we'll certainly be working on doing. And that's like the halfway point to your full-blown production permits. This is the same permitting approach that's been taken successfully at the Reed Lake mine, which was a smaller deposit than Rainbow that was located over 100 kilometers away, that was taken into production by Hud Bay in 2014, as well as the Lawler mine that was taken into production in 2014 as well by Hud Bay. Was the same permitting approach. And there's our neighbors that you'll hear a presentation coming up. Foran has also used a very similar permitting process as they're advancing their deposit over there in Saskatchewan. So again, that's what we're working on. Rainbow will be submitting the AEP application in December, and we look to receive that within 6 months' time. But again, the focus is exploration for this high-grade copper and vectoring to really grow these deposits to scale. And now, just trying to sum things up, bigger picture, where we are. These are all the mines of Flin Flon, or most of them. And again, what you're seeing in red is your initial reserves, and then in blue is the reserve growth once these mines went into production. And what you see in many of these VMS systems, in Flin Flon and beyond, is that they typically grow 2 to 3 times the size once you get into production. So to date, we're at just under shy of 6 million tons. And as we move forward with the Descendant discovery, we believe that we can get in an an additional 10 million tons with a step-out campaign that will be, again, based upon results over the next 12 months. And that will take us in a really rarefied air based upon the other major producers that have produced in that area. So again, very, very excited about exploration going on in Flin Flon. I think, again, the community has got a bright history, and we're at really objective for this year is to get to critical scale as we, again, begin the permitting process to be able to fast-track these into a production decision or scenario, which, again, Manitoba's got the track record of doing. And when you look at Canada as a whole, the average timeline from discovery hole to production is just under 19 years. And we're, got our eyes set to do that much more quickly here in northern Manitoba and Flin Flon, just like we've done and others have done previously in the past quite successfully. So with that being said, we'll open the floor to any questions with the last 5 minutes we have here. But again, we encompass, I think, everything that's going to make a very successful exploration company. And as we grow into development stage as well, with a tight capital structure, emerging high-grade discoveries, and a strong technical team that's delivered numerous times before and looking to replicate that success as we've done to date.
Thank you. You mentioned it in the beginning, and maybe you are the answer as being one of the biggest shareholders, but zero debt, what's the thinking there? Is that you don't like debt, or?
Well, you go into debt when you go into the construction phase, certainly, but I think debt on an exploration company is never a good recipe, certainly for success. So we'll continue to fund through equity as we see fit. One of the things that's beneficial in Canada that you have, I don't know, you have something similar in Sweden, but maybe, I'm not familiar with Sweden, but you have what's known as a flow-through. So one of the reasons we've been able to mitigate dilution, have such a tight cap table, is that we're able to leverage offshore investor money. We've got a ton of support. So when we raise $1 from an offshore investor, that leverages and we get an extra 70 cents on the dollar. The delta is 1.7. So again, we can turn $1 million into 1.7 million through these tax incentives that allows us to take the drill bit that much further. So again, Canada's an excellent jurisdiction to be in.
So capitalization at this point where you are now is not really a problem. But if we go forward, what do you see as the biggest hurdle here? Is it workforce, or is it just that you need it takes time to get let's say proof of the result?
Yeah, patience is a
patience
virtue.
Is a virtue,
in this business
yes.
is a very long lead in the resource business. And in terms of human capital, that's a huge advantage for us in Flin Flon. So again, Flin Flon's built on mining. That 777 mine employed nearly 800 people. Today that employs less than 50 people as on care and maintenance. And they've offset, so many of those miners have gone into retirement, and many are now doing shift work at the local mine, the Snow Lake mine, the Lawler mine. So this is a community that has always been able to go home after a long shift to their families and is now being put into a place where they're 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. And it's, if we find it, they will come. Certainly every time we're in Flin Flon, even when we're in the grocery store, they will walk up saying, hey, when do we get started? Because we prefer not to commute so far and be home with our families. And so we're here to provide that work-life balance and that the future of the community desperately needs.
And if we look at the timeline here, what do you want us to look for, and what do you expect, let's say, the next year?
Exploration results, and we're an exploration company. We're drilling right now. We're stepping out on a significant discovery that I think can be very, very large based upon all the indicators there. Again, Placer was targeting 30 million. I'm not allowed to put a firm target on things, so we obviously like the area for the same reason. And stepping out on that discovery is going to be a key thing to watch. Is we also again target other near-surface opportunities with those other targets that we mentioned: Poseidon, Odin, and Ra. And then beyond that, as we look to the north on that exploration land package we recently acquired, that we've had our eyes set on. As low-hanging fruit comes to mind in terms of opportunities that'll come from that we're already seeing that we haven't yet announced. And again, I believe this belt has a lot more discoveries to produce, and we're just the start, the tipping point and the beginning of those discoveries.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So summarizing, next year that you may expand, let's say, the area where you think you can find, and you don't need to put a number on it, but.
Well, no, yeah, it's grow the resource base, expand exploration to the north, and then receive our advanced exploration permit to begin the work at our Rainbow and Pine Bay deposits.
Oh, interesting. So it's a three-edged sword, so to speak.
Yeah, as you can see in the logo, I like threes.
Yes, excellent. Well, thank you, and the best of luck. Thank you.